You are free to ask in the Facebook stream. If you like, you may ask questions in Norwegian, of course. We both understand Norwegian, but we've decided to speak English since we have an international audience here as well today. Henrik, let me start by asking, you, just a little while ago, you were representing Norway in the World Entrepreneur of the Year contest. And now you have fathered a new company, VOW Green Metals. What made you do this?
We are. I would say that we in VOW we are entrepreneurs. We like to like to build industry, and of course we saw and we see opportunities in new industry verticals, and we want to deliver on those type of opportunities. We have technology, we have competence, and we also have the capital market with us. So I think it's and of course it's a sense of urgency, you know, for the green transition and to help industry decarbonize, and we want to deliver on that.
It's like you're sort of connecting the dots between different industries, right? Filling a gap, so to speak.
It's a missing link in some of these industry verticals, and that's what we saw in the metallurgical industry. We were encouraged by the industry itself, you know, that you need to come up with some relevant solution for us. You need to you know, the first production at Follum will be 10,000, 12,000 tons of biocarbon. In Norway, we expect a market demand for 400,000. You know, we need to have 40 of those to really take that market. So that was on one side, and we couldn't be sitting and waiting for others to take that position. We saw that we could do it. We had the technology, we had the competence, as I said, but also that we see that with not only the capital market, so to speak, we see a good industry and a good interest from the capital markets, but also, you know, the latest 5 weeks in VOW ASA, we have made available, you know, 32 million euros or 320 million Norwegian kroner of extended line of credits, because we are ticking off a lot of boxes for the EU taxonomy now. So capital is available to move fast forward, and we surely will do that.
But it is kind of interesting to see how what you talked about in the presentation as well, where you combined the industries and societies' needs to handle waste and bio-waste and turn that into raw materials, products that, you know, other companies actually pay for, and also for, you know, industrial heat, district heating. So it's an interesting.
And there's not that many people or so that many organizations that can take that position. We saw that we could take that position because, for example, if you look at the metallurgical industry, they wouldn't necessarily own that type of assets or that type of production facilities. On the waste side, they were not aligned and didn't see that opportunity. So that's what we're doing here. You know, we're taking that position ourselves.
Yeah. Well, it's very interesting. A few words about next couple of days and weeks. You are listing the company early next week, you said. But you're not offering new shares to investors. Why did you sort of decide to list directly instead of doing a?
We saw that we have already now fully funded the first factory. It means that we and that, you know, with the first VOW ASA injected 150 million into VOW Green Metals, and we got the Enova funding on top of that, and that was sufficient now to kick this off. And that's why we're basically distributing this to all the shareholders of VOW ASA. And the fantastic thing here is that we have more than 8,000 shareholders in VOW ASA, and now we're listing a company. From day one, we will have more than 8,000 shareholders in VOW Green Metals.
And VOW will continue as a leading shareholder.
It will. It definitely. I think it was very important that VOW also took a leading role in this with the momentum VOW also has, and of course we had the cash to inject into VOW Green Metals, And we see this as a very good investment.
How do you sort of describe the role between the two companies going forward? You know, VOW on the one side and VOW Green Metals. How should we think about that?
You know, I talked about this accelerator. You know, we're creating this vehicle for a faster green transition towards the metallurgical industry, building factories fast. And on the other side, VOW ASA will deliver. We are cracking the code for VOW ASA because we get technology out there faster. So we will enable VOW ASA also to grow faster on the top revenue line. We have to remember the fact that VOW Green Metals is a build-own. It's a company that produces renewable energy, CO2 neutral, climate neutral energy, and advanced products as biocarbon. It could be biocarbon towards the metallurgical industry, and it could be others. But of course, this build own operate is their main product will be to help the metallurgical industry decarbonize. So it's a build own operate, while VOW ASA is the supplier of technology.
And we heard that in just a month or so, the new CEO of VOW Green Metals will come on board, and you will then go back to your current former main role as the CEO of VOW.
Cecilie will then take the lead on that business. I'm really looking forward. You know, she's very ambitious. She comes with this type of experience, and I remember we have gone through a very extensive recruiting period. We had a lot of very good candidates at the table, but with the way Cecilie challenged us and the ideas she had, you know, she was the perfect fit for this role.
But what will be your role then in VOW Green Metals going forward? I didn't see you on the list.
No, I will continue as the CEO of VOW ASA, and we have so many things that we're doing in VOW ASA. We will of course support VOW Green Metals. They will need a lot of support from VOW ASA going forward. But I'm working on we created this VOW Industries as this incubator. We're looking. We see that there are opportunities to replicate what we're doing now towards the metallurgical industry.
So there might be some new companies. Yeah, that's what you're
there
saying.
There might be some new ideas and some new that will be rolled out as companies. Yes, and I think that it's a unique way to secure a very sustainable growth in VOW ASA. It will create shareholder values by these spin-offs. So we're not taking something from one, we're actually putting one and one that becomes more than two. Looking at it from a shareholder perspective, we're creating value by these spin-offs, and that is a fantastic way to do it, and we truly believe in this type of expansion.
Very interesting. I'd like to get back to one of the things that you mentioned in the presentation, which also is one of the questions we received before this session. It's about the different technologies. You touched upon it, different technologies to decarbonize industries. Some companies are talking about hydrogen as the solution that will help and solve everything. You have a different approach to this. How do you, are these competitors, you think?
No, imagine going back, the global metal industry is emits 10% of the CO2 emissions in the world. It has a major impact. We need several pathways towards net zero. Biocarbon will be an important pathway. It's something that the industry are doing today. Definitely. It's no replacement cost, as I said. We can move fast forward, but there will be other pathways. But I think the key here, what we're talking about here is in the melting processes, you need to reduce the oxygen from the melting processes. Then you can use biocarbon. You can use syngas or any kind of gas containing a lot of hydrogen, but you also need the carbon. So it's a combination. So it means that you've seen an announcement of partnership in the metallurgical industry with hydrogen, but those type of partnership will also need the biocarbon because these processes needs the carbon. So it means that not only are VOW Green Metals relevant for the biocarbon track,
it's also relevant for the other tracks together with hydrogen because of the combination of hydrogen and carbon that has to be there.
So in a way, would it be correct to think that, you know, producing metals requires both heat and also carbon? And you need, you know, in the future, green future, you need, of course, to have CO2 neutral energy production and CO2 neutral carbon in the process. And then that's why
and then
the
of course
biocarbon is important.
what the industry has done, the majority of the carbon that the industry is today using is fossil-based. You know, you're digging it out from the ground, and by doing that, you're increasing the concentration of carbon in the CO2 cycle, and that is the problem. What we're doing is that the industry, you know, the metallurgical industry and other industry needs carbon. It will continue needing carbon, but we can produce that carbon. We can recycle that carbon from the carbon that's already in the system, like forestry residues, like biogenic waste, etc. So it's an enabler for the, you know, to continue producing metals because the world needs metals going forward. But we will make them green.
There were some questions coming in right now about the market size, and the market share that you expect to be able to capture. Can you elaborate on that?
Let's say the first part of our development plan is to take a major position, a leading position in the Norwegian market. I spoke about sort of the European market that is, you know, 40 times larger in terms of consumption of reducing agents compared to Norway. The Nordics, I have talked about that earlier, that's 4 to 5 times larger than the Norwegian market. So there are large markets out there. But if we're gonna take a leading position in Norway, we need to aim for something in excess of 200,000 tons. That's you know, we need fast to increase capacity on the production side from the 10 to 12,000 we're talking about at Follum up to the volumes, you know.
So 20 times what you're looking at in the first.
And that's we need to deliver on this through a few years here, you know.
Yeah, and then 200,000 tons of biocarbon. There's a total consumption today of 1 million around in
exactly in the
Norway.
Norwegian market. So, and if we said that if Elkem is the benchmark here, that the industry moves to 40% replacement in 2030, then you're talking about the market of a need for 400,000 tons of biocarbon in the coming years, and that means that VOW Green Metals will really take a position here, and this is, you know, by taking that position, whether that is going to be 35% or 50 or 65 or 70% market share, you know, we're gonna present our ambitious plan as we move forward. But now, first and foremost, we have our running shoes on, and we're gonna deliver sort of a large scale plant and Europe's largest biocarbon production at Follum in the coming months, you know. So
how far have you come in sort of preparations for that? Have you started building the construction activities?
What we are planning for it. We expect now that VOW Green Metals will place the order for all the process equipment now over the summer, and that will be towards Wowasa, demonstrating that accelerator I'm talking about, the growth both within the both companies. But of course, the construction of the building at Follum, we have the contracts for the machine installation and the construction work. Those things will be sort of firmed in the coming months.
I'm sure you will update the market as these contracts are being awarded.
We will definitely do that. But we said it earlier. We will start production at Follum during the fall of next year, and that means that our running shoes are on.
There's another question coming in. I think a very good question about the complexity of scaling up, which seems to be an important part of the whole idea here. You mentioned it several times in the presentation as well. You know, how flexible is the solution that you're planning at Follum, and you know, how difficult do you think it will be to actually scale up from 10 to 40,000 or even 200,000?
Let's say we want to create a very scalable model. I mean, that of course what we're doing now for the first stage, we're building multiple lines to produce these 10 to 12,000 tons. It's 6 lines with altogether 12 reactors. Of course, a lot of upstream systems and downstream and valorization of gas, etc. But of course, we are also working with increased capacity per line, and that will be important. We are able to increase capacity to a certain size, a decent size at Follum. We said earlier that 10,000 tons. Perhaps we can double the production capacity over the next few years at Follum. Whether we will do that with the existing reactors designs or we will increase. But of course, we are working with big industry. We need to scale up for big industry. Like we have Oslo Metal at the table, also the world's biggest steel producer. They need capacity, and that means that we can deliver multiple reactors. But of course, we're going to make the reactors with higher capacities going forward.
I think this is a good time then to ask the last question that we've actually received, and that is, when should we and how soon should we expect to hear more about the next phases? I know people are very keen to learn about, well, this is Follum, next Follum, and then how soon do you think?
As I said, we outlined sort of a phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. We are working with that expansion plan today. We are looking at several sites in Norway, but we will come back with a more clear. But let's say what we're not doing is just looking isolated at the Follum. We are already working on that, and of course, the discussions I have had with Cecilie also. After she was appointed, we looked at the expansion plan, and she also brought with her experience from her industry, looking at several new ideas of how we could expand in some of the other sites, or even faster. So we will come back to that. We will go more visibility, provide more visibility. Now we have plenty to talk about with the Follum site and the new management boarding and a strong a board of directors that will support this process.
Thank you so much, Henrik. This has been very interesting, and thank you so much to the audience for listening in. I hope you found it as interesting as I did. You might have some questions still, and those can be asked to the company. There are email address available on the website. The address is vowgreenmetals.com. And by that, we round off. You will probably, most certainly, hear more from Henrik and Cecilie in just a few weeks.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Gunnar, for helping me.